Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 1989 film WitchTrap. Yes, I actually just got this one, and I couldn't wait to get into it because I heard it was kind of a so bad it's good film, and confirmed. It's a so bad it's good film. So I'm going to be rating this two ways, as a straight up film and as a so bad it's good film. Let's get into this one. Very interesting. Written and directed by Kevin Tenney, who also did Night of the Demons, Witchboard, Witchboard 2, Pinocchio's Revenge, and Don't Let Them In, just to name a few. And I will say right off the bat, this film, if you think about it, is almost Night of the Demons. Like, the characters are written the same, the story seems very, very similar, it has a very similar feel to it. The dialogue is very similar, and it makes sense because Tenney wrote the scripts for both of them, so yeah. It seems like he was just kind of stuck in that mode because Night of the Demons came first and then WitchTrap. It was Witchboard, Night of the Demons, WitchTrap. So just so you know. Apparently all the audio for this had to be done in post because of a recording issue that happened during filming. Now you can obviously very easily tell it within the film because you can just tell that it was all dialogue laid on after the fact, and that's one of the things that's so terrible about this film, but it also adds like this extra cheese, so bad it's good factor to it as well, in my opinion. And obviously, you're not going to get the exact same performances from actors on screen when they're actually in the scenes versus recording their lines after the fact. So you end up you end up getting this like just very like flat, emotionless, matter of fact style of voice acting for what was laid on the film after the fact. And for that reason, like, everyone just seems emotionless and like they weren't actually acting. So it doesn't necessarily match like their actions on screen. Originally, the film was named The Haunted, and then it was named The Presence, which actually, in this version of it, it says in the beginning The Presence as the title card. It ended up being changed to WitchTrap because there was an idea that maybe it would drive sales better if it was kind of a little bit, in the same vein as Witchboard, because Witchboard was kind of known. Devin Louder, the character of Devin Louder, who's not in it a whole lot, was actually played by Kevin Tenney. So if you want to know what Kevin Tenney looks like, that's Kevin Tenney. And apparently they just, like, it was kind of last minute. They couldn't find someone for the role. So he was just like, I wrote the script, I know the lines, I'll just do this. Getting into the actual film, the magician being tormented by what we assume to be the ghost of the guy in the picture is pretty hilariously bad. Very overacted, very ridiculous, and hey, what a way to start this film, to just let you know it's going to be over the top, it's going to be ridiculous, it's going to be a so bad it's good film. It is. Totally, totally is. So I believe the magician's name was Asimov. Yeah, he gets killed. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more about this character, this magician. And also, like, why was there a magician being sent to the house? That's another question. Why a magician? I don't understand. Like, I understand that Devin Louder says that they sent him there because they wanted to kind of like have someone more famous do it because he was this well-known magician. Jesus, it's one of those days, a well-known magician. So they were kind of trying to like sell it as like, come stay at this haunted house, because he says it's like a big thing now of like people wanting to stay at haunted houses. So he's trying to find a quick way to make a buck. Showing Agnes's boobs so early in the film lets you know just how bad this film is going to be. Because yes, typically films, especially from this time period, would lean very, very heavily on nudity very early on if they were not good. Now, this kind of signaled to me immediately, oh yeah. You see Agnes like immediately just like lounging in the tub, boobs just fully exposed, and I was like, okay, got it, got it. Although I will say, they didn't show as much nudity in this as you would think. Linnea Quigley is in it, so obviously she does get naked in it, because at this point in her career, that's just what was expected, all based off of her performance as Trash in The Return of the Living Dead. All the dialogue is delivered in a disinterested, matter-of-fact way. It's like the actors were over it. Now, like I said, like, you're just not going to get the same performance laying the audio down after the fact. And a big reason for that being they're trying to match it to the mouth movements, which I think they did a pretty good job of. But the problem is when you're so focused on just matching it, you're not focused on delivering the lines in like an emotion filled, meaningful way. So that's just the way it ends up being. But it works for So Bad It's Good, like I said. Jackson's ogling of Ginger, Linnea Quigley's character, when she's getting coffee is very over the top. It lets you know that that's all this character of Jackson is going to be about, is about trying to get in Ginger's pants. Ends up being correct. The dialogue during this meeting about the Louder House is really, really random. Honestly, the dialogue in the film in general is very random. Just a lot of it's kind of like this mean-spirited, making fun of people type dialogue. It just kind of seems like characters are almost always angry at each other all the time, even though they're supposed to be working towards this one goal. And that's one of the reasons that I say it feels a lot like Night of the Demons, because Night of the Demons had the exact same type of dialogue going on with the exact same type of character. Well, I was going to say development. There's no character development. The exact same type of character creation, basically. So, yeah. Random dialogue. Man, the argument in the bar between Vicente and Murphy is very long and drawn out, but the dialogue is so bad and random that it ends up being fun. It reminds me a lot of the dialogue and the feel of the film Samurai Cop, if you've ever seen that one. A notoriously So Bad It's Good film. I highly recommend it for anyone who likes So Bad It's Good cinema. Samurai Cop is one of the best So Bad It's Good films. And this, because of that dialogue, specifically that Vicente Murphy scene of arguing in the bar, really made me think Samurai Cop. I like that scene for that reason. But it's weird, like, I don't understand. It's just poor character writing, let's be honest. But, like, Murphy is using Vicente because he's, like, this top cop who retired. And now he goes to, like, his detective agency, right? So, he that is his cash cow. Vicente knows it. But then Murphy keeps threatening to fire him when, what are you going to do then? Because he basically says in the film that, like, Vicente is where all the money is for him. So it's like, so I just don't understand why he's always like so angry at him, acting like he can get rid of him when Vicente knows he can't. So it's just this weird character creation. It doesn't make sense. As a groundskeeper in a horror movie, Elwyn is appropriately creepy. I like the casting of Elwyn. I thought he was one of the more fun characters. Played by Hal Havens, by the way, who played the character of Stooge in Night of the Demons. So there you go. Different character for him, though. Why do so many of the characters act like such dicks to everyone else? Like I said, like, that's the mode these characters were written to be in. Like, everyone is the same character. It's bad writing. Like, characters don't have their own voices. Like, they all speak the same. They all act the same for the most part. Everyone's just pissed at each other and acts like a dick and just, like, wants to make jokes even when they're in a serious situation. It's weird. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I like how Agnes tries to get Vicente, someone who's there for her safety, fired. That doesn't make any sense either. This is what I'm talking about. The very random writing of this. Like, things randomly happen. Dialogue randomly happens. The fact that Agnes needs this security detail with Vicente and Murphy and Jackson, and she knows this, yet she's trying to talk to Murphy to get Vicente fired. And Murphy even has stated that Vicente's like the main guy, like the guy who's most likely to actually do something in the case of an issue. Now, in the case of an actual issue with a ghost coming up, people with guns doing anything about it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, let's be honest. So, in the first place, it makes no sense that they have this like security detail of dudes with guns who were basically police officers at one point to fight a ghost. They're not going to have the experience, obviously. They're going to have no clue what to do. Yes, okay, they had like this briefing meeting, but like it wasn't explained like how to take care of ghosts. Like all they know is dealing with human beings. Maybe some animals here and there. I don't know, but it's just like bad writing. It's bad writing. When Felix started freaking out and convulsing after being possessed by Avery Lauder in the beginning, I thought, man, that's a hell of an orgasm. That's kind of how the acting plays out to me. And if you kind of view it in that way, I think it makes it even funnier. And I'm just saying. The idea of a mental versus a physical medium, I think, is kind of an interesting idea that's thrown out there here. But why would you want to physically manifest a ghost, especially in this instance where you know it's a dangerous ghost? Because going into this job, they are fully aware that people have been killed by the ghost of Avery Lauder. They know he's dangerous. So why wouldn't you just bring the mental medium as opposed to the physical medium? I guess it was the idea that they need to physically draw him out into ghost-like apparition form and then use this new device that Agnes has created. But it's still so... It's so dangerous. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that you would do that. I have to believe, like in a lot of movies, that there's some other way to vanquish a spirit. But I guess maybe they were kind of just going for the angle of Agnes created this new device and she wants to test it out. Although, wouldn't you have tested something like this out on a more benign entity before you go for this super well-known, super dangerous one? Writing, you know? And Linnea Quigley gets naked like she always does, yes. But I will say that was a really good shower scene. Not because of the nudity, like, I don't really care about that stuff in film. But the kill was pretty good. Probably my favorite kill of the film. There were a few good kills, so I appreciate that. But the fact that and I didn't see it coming, the shower head, like, flies out and, like, stabs her in the neck. And then they show, pretty good practical effects, they show, like, this gaping hole with all this blood and viscera. It was good. That was a wonderful moment. And I was just like, oh, this is like a legit good horror film moment. I was surprised. Plus, like I said, I didn't see the shower head attacking her coming, and it was a nice touch. And you know that Jackson takes Ginger's death personally because he wanted to hit it. Didn't get to, unfortunately. I'm very sorry, Jackson. You didn't get to hit it. Real quick, horror hydration. So good. Yeah, Jackson was pissed. And then he gets a crappy death, let's be honest. Because they didn't show anything. Like, he gets rammed by the car, so, like, it takes out his legs, so he can't move. Okay, sure, I get it. And then they line it up like you're going to get a head smash scene under a tire. And I was so excited, I was so ready. Because of the shower scene, I was like, we're going to see it. We're going to see it. No, you don't see it. And I was like, this was your moment. Like, literally just, like, even do a quick cut and have a watermelon under there or something just for the head. Or, you know what I mean? Like, that's been done before in film. Just do that. And then it looks like someone got killed. Like, you could even do a watermelon and, like, inject some just red food coloring into it. It's not hard. I mean, come on. The argument between Vicente and Whitney about Vicente not believing in God brings up a big question. What did anyone think a security detail would do about a dangerous ghost? Yeah, I'd kind of already talked about this, but it bears repeating. Giant plot hole. What did they think was going to be taken care of? I mean, I guess if they knew about Elwyn in the first place and thought that he was potentially a problem, because he's serving Avery Lauder, obviously, because he does end up being, you know, like going after people not possessed by Avery Lauder, just on his own volition, because you get the idea that he's left over from when Avery Lauder passed, and he's very loyal to him, and he knows about his plans to come back. Murphy's death with the floating bullet, actually pretty solid. I like that touch, didn't see it coming. I like the shot they had, too, of kind of like showing the little case of bullets in the forefront and Murphy sitting in the bed, or on the chair, sitting on the chair in the back, and then you just like see that bullet lift up, and then you see it like hovering, and it whoosh, goes and splatter. Pretty good scene. I like that. Like I said, there were some good death scenes that I really appreciated in this film. I feel like Elwyn as the red herring killer doesn't work well because the audience is fully aware that it's not him. It's really only the characters that don't know that it's not Elwyn, because initially they do assume that Elwyn's the one killing people. Now, it works then if that's obfuscated and the audience doesn't know. that the audience also is kind of seeing it from the perspective of the characters, and they think, oh, maybe Elwyn is the one going around killing, and then it gets revealed later, oh no, it's Avery Lauder this whole time. So like it takes the power away from it. Just saying. So Agnes has never tested her device. Shouldn't she have done this on a less dangerous entity at this point? Yes. Already talked about that, I know, but also bears repeating because that is ridiculous. Another plot hole, in my opinion. And Felix gets scanned. I dig it. I like the Felix getting scanned thing. See, look, they do a head explosion here. You could have done something very similar for Jackson's death under the tire of the car. Easily. You definitely could have, right? You could have. You could have. And they should have. But I appreciate the head explosion for Felix. But I also don't understand because it kind of seemed like Avery Lauder could only inflict physical damage when he went through Whitney, the physical medium, not Felix, the mental medium. But I guess it's because he was inhabiting Felix's head at that moment from the mental medium standpoint. He was able to make it explode. I don't know. But I appreciate the scene. Agnes was stupid to explain her plans to Avery Lauder. Isn't she supposed to be the well-experienced person with this type of stuff? Another plot hole. She would know better, you would think, than to explain her entire plan to Avery Lauder while he's inhabiting the body of her husband. Husband or boyfriend, I don't know which one it is. Or hydration. Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's just a stupid move. It's an insanely stupid move. But that speaks to the charm of this film. Because it is so bad, it's good. Shouldn't Whitney be smart enough to guess that she can't run a ghost over with her car to kill it? I guess you can make the argument that at that point, that's when, Avery Lauder has kind of possessed her mind at that point and is making her kind of hallucinate and kind of see things. And she thinks she's off the grounds of the property, which she needs to get off the grounds of the property because then he can't physically manifest. But she's stuck there because she thinks she's off the grounds, but he's in her head making her think she's on grounds. But it doesn't change the fact that it makes no sense that she would think while she's driving in this car that she can hit a ghost with her car to kill it. Just another random moment of bad writing in this film. Kind of decent twist, though, that Lauder created illusions that kept Whitney from leaving. I do like that twist. That is kind of cool. I was fooled into thinking that she had actually gotten off the property. So it is nice to be like, oh no, she never left. I like that. I like the reverse footage of the smoke coming out of Agnes's device. That was fun. I really like that. Sometimes reverse footage looks terrible, but in this instant, it looks good. It looks quite good. I appreciated that. And the amount of smoke they got to come out of the device, pretty nice. It's pretty funny that Vincente says, okay, I'm a believer, and then shoots the ashes and is able to hurt Lauder. It sums up the lazy-ass nature of the script writing. It really, really does. Because they have the conversation, like the fight between Vincente and Whitney earlier about, like, you can't do anything about overcoming Lauder unless you believe. And then he's just literally just like offhand is like, okay, I believe. And then he shoots the ashes and he's able to like inflict bullet hole wounds on Lauder at that point. And you're just like that. Yep. That sums up the writing. That's literally how it is. Just like, and then just for convenience of writing, this is what happens now. I was like, oh man, for real. Lauder's meltdown in orange and green flames is fun. Another good practical effects fun moment. I assume they made like kind of like a gelatin mold and then just like melted it over time and then just kind of sped up the footage, which has been done before and it works. It looks good. I really like that. I also love the touch of not just the orange fire, but the green fire thrown in there. I forget what element it is. There's a certain mineral that you can put in fire that that creates different colors of it, but I forget which one it is for green, but looked good. Did we really need, though, the very end portion with Vincente dealing with the trauma from his encounter? I guess to the degree that people might want to know, like, where he went after that and how it impacted him, but it just seems very, like, whatever, and drawn out. Like, way too drawn out, in my opinion. So I personally did not feel like we needed that. I thought him defeating Lauder was a good place to just kind of end it all. Or maybe just have like a little bit of something extra at the end where it's just like, or is Louder actually gone? You know what I mean? Because they did a lot of that before. Then we could have got Witch Trap too. Probably don't need that though. The way the characters pick on each other and bicker so much reminds me of Night of the Demons. Yes. If you've seen Night of the Demons, do you agree with me on this? That the feel and like a lot of the stuff is very much the same between Witch Trap and Night of the Demons? Let me know in the comments. Way too much talking, not nearly enough doing in this film, though, unfortunately. Yes, we get some good payoffs here and there. I like that about it. With, you know, the practical effects, the deaths, some funny, unintentional funny stuff, but way too much talking. It's like an hour and a half film. It feels longer than that, unfortunately. But regardless, I had a fun time with it. It was fun enough. Would love to hear your opinions. Go ahead and put it in the comments. Let's get nerdy about this one. And I'm going to rate it 2 ways. So as an actual film in the pantheon of all films, out of 5 stars with half stars in play, 1 star. As a so bad it's good film, I'm going to give it 3 stars. I think as a so bad it's good film, it's pretty fun. This is one you could throw on with some friends, have a few drinks, some nice snacks, and just like laugh about it. Make fun of it, laugh about it. And I would like to do that with some people. That would be fun. If it comes to Shudder, we should watch Witch Trap. We did Witchboard, which actually is a pretty good film in the end, but we'll do Witch Trap if it comes to Shudder. We'll do that as a watch party. But once again, put some comments down here. Do me a quick favor, though. Hit subscribe if you haven't already to my channel. It literally keeps me motivated to keep doing these videos, so I really appreciate that. That's the way you can repay me. And then hit the notification bell button, because then you'll know when I'm putting up my new videos, which I'm doing 4 a week at this point, which I think is a very good amount. Now, that said, thank you very much for taking your time to watch this particular video. I appreciate it. And until next time, keep it brutal.